949-6066. Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. JN Money, from abroad to Yad. And Cineco, keeping Cayman covered.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Friday, the 12th day of June, 2026, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on our roads, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road, because the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, we want to wish you a happy birthday or a happy belated birthday, whichever is applicable, and to remind you that the For the Record birthday shout-outs brought to you by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands. You should accept no substitutes. From generation to generation, Coca-Cola, still a Cayman classic. Those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery. And of course, we want to give a big shout out again this morning to our colleague here at Radio Cayman, Mr. Joel Wilson as well. So first of all, folks, before I introduce our guest in the studio this morning, let's look at the birthday shout outs. And again, birthday shout outs proudly brought to you by Coca-Cola. So Miss Aldine Evans has shared several birthday greetings with us this morning. Starting out, Miss Sabrina Turner celebrating her birthday today. Of course, Miss Turner, former member of Parliament, also former minister, and also formerly worked here at Radio Cayman as well. Byron Derrick E. Banks celebrating his birthday today as well. Known by his former colleagues in the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service as Stormy. Everyone called him Stormy. So Byron Derrick E. Banks celebrating his birthday today. Donova Clark also celebrating a birthday today. Miss Carmelie Pearson celebrating a birthday. Ezekiel E. Banks celebrating a birthday today. Also Miss Pamela E. Banks Small celebrating her birthday today as well. Tomorrow, Erin Echenique is celebrating a birthday. And Danny, guess who's celebrating a birthday tomorrow as well? John Tibbetts Sr.
I'm so glad you told me that.
John Tibbetts celebrating his birthday today, as well as Natasha Gourier. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Gourier. I believe that's the way it is. She's celebrating a birthday today as well. Let's just check the Facebook ones to make sure that we haven't left anyone out. Yesterday, Michelle Smith, Mitch, celebrated his birthday yesterday as well. And I believe we have covered all of those. So Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, sorry, and by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy and sometimes dangerous roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. So this morning, we will be discussing a very important issue. We have dedicated the whole period right up from the 6th of June, I believe it was, until
It's 6 weeks. Yeah,
6 weeks, ending today, the 12th of June, at least here on For the Record today, about preparedness. And it is my pleasure this morning again to have in the studio with me Ms. Dana Coleman, who is the Director of Hazard Management Cayman, and Ms. Liz Riley, who is the Executive Director of CDEMA. Ladies, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. Great to be here.
Okay, Danny, let's kick it off with you, reminding our audience, both viewing and listening audience as well, of the importance of being prepared. And then I want you to introduce Ms. Riley, give a much more formal introduction to her in terms of her credentials and the working relationship that you have with her and the organization as well.
Thank you so much, OC, and a very big welcome and morning to all the listeners out there today. We're thrilled to be on the radio again. I have no doubt you're a bit tired of hearing from us every week for the last 6 weeks. But again, I think it's all about reinforcing that preparedness messaging, be it on the radio, be it in the hardware shops. We've been doing a lot of work in the hardware shops and supermarkets. And I think hazard management's really been out there with our colleagues from radio station, with the weather station and the CERT teams and various other volunteers helping us spread the word. But you can never spread the word too little. It's just that reinforcement, constant reinforcement. We've had a very busy week this week, talking about preparedness. We've been operating the entire national hazard management structure in training and in exercising. So today, it's really good that we're ending today at the radio station, because today is our big annual hurricane exercise. So, and this year we're calling it Hurricane Franz in honour of our wonderful DG, who will be retiring quite soon. We've been working all week with various different stakeholders, obviously all the agencies involved in the national emergency structure, but also we've brought trainers in from GSB and again at instant command training. So we're talking about at the tactical level, at the strategic level, at the bronze level, and also at the executive level. And of course that ends today with all of those people operating together. I think it's really, really important when you do training, you're doing it at all these levels, because at the end of the day, if we don't get the right information in from the top or the bottom, then that's going to get lost in translation. So we're all speaking the same language, we're all getting trained in a standardized process. And again, we've been doing this for 3 years now, so we're very excited about where we're at and how we're moving forward. But this year's on recovery, and it seemed like an absolute brilliant opportunity to invite Liz and Mandela into the Cayman Islands again. Liz has been here many, many times before. She's the Executive Director of CDEMA. And for those who don't know, CDEMA is the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency. We work really, really closely with these partners. And again, it's always a really good relationship. We're thrilled to have them here in Cayman so they can see how we're operating from an exercise level. And also the conversation on recovery, because CDEMA really do have a good focus on recovery. And I think recovery has been one of those things that it's somewhat neglected around the world. We talk about preparedness, let's get ready for whatever the emergency is, and then it stops and the all clear gets given and everyone's exhausted, they go home and sleep for a couple of days. Well, actually we can't do that. We need to make sure that the recovery element and the immediate relief element in any large scale emergency is well coordinated, well organised, and we have these structures well in place well in advance. So that's why we have Liz and Mandela here today. We also have another guest from the FCDO, the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, who may be joining us later, called Andy Hill. And again, his background is in humanitarian aid and crisis response. So, it's a really good 3 different groups of people in here this week, but we're thrilled to have every one of them in here because, again, they can really help us with the whole process and making sure that we're doing what we're doing is in line with regional practices and international practices. And again, just welcome Liz, welcome Mandela. Great to have you both here.
Okay, and we just want to say Mandela's off camera, but he's here in the studio with us as well.
We may persuade him to get on this side in due course.
We're still working on that. So again, Ms. Riley, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Thank you.
Mike is yours.
Yeah, so first of all, it's so wonderful to be back in the Cayman Islands. And as Danny mentioned, CDEMA, it's a
bring that mic a little closer to you. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
So I was just saying it's so great to be back in the Cayman Islands. And I want to thank Danny once again for extending the invitation for us to join her here this week. And it's an exciting week here in the Cayman Islands of preparedness and readiness. And CDEMA, we're an institution of the Caribbean community, and the Cayman Islands, of course, is an associate member of the community, and importantly, a full member of CDEMA. So Cayman Islands is one of 20 countries in the CDEMA system, and the work of the organization is really about keeping people safe. And as you know, in the region, we are susceptible to so many different types of hazards. So this week, even though the conversation is heavily focused on hurricanes and the hazards associated with hurricanes, we know that here in the Cayman Islands, there are many other hazards that affect our people, which include floods, there include earthquake. There was a threat of a tsunami just a short while ago here in the Cayman Islands. So it really reminds us that these natural hazards are a part of our life here in the Caribbean, and they're potentially a significant threat to our people. And so the work of CDEMA is about how do we work to keep the people safe? How do we ensure that persons are familiar with those hazards? They understand that if the hazards occur, what do we do? How do we prepare for those hazards to make sure that when they do occur, we keep ourselves safe? So this is principally what we do. So we work with Danny here in the Cayman Islands, but her equivalents across 19 other states in the Caribbean. And in addition, another part of the work that we do is at the sectoral level, because when we see hazards impact in the Caribbean, we lose a lot. So, for example, here in the Cayman Islands, tourism is a very critical sector. And if we cast our minds back to previous hurricane events, and also yesterday we were talking about some of the other types of events like the northers, which Danny was discussing with us on the type of impacts that it causes. Whenever these hazards affect us, we get losses, whether it is losses on the physical side, like loss of housing. Sometimes you see loss of tourism infrastructure, like the hotels. Sometimes it could be damage to piers, etc. So what we try to do is to work with those sectors on what are the kinds of measures that you can put in place to make sure that the losses don't occur. So, for example, in the tourism sector, a part of our work is about looking at issues of setbacks, and this is with physical planning. How close should we really be to the shoreline? Because we know with the big systems, the cyclone systems, we get storm surge, which comes in, and it can affect those structures on the coastline. We can have flooding if there's a lot of precipitation, particularly if the structures are low-lying. So can we elevate those buildings, for example? Maybe leave an open space at the bottom to allow the floodwaters to move without causing actual damage to the buildings. So you also get damage on the environmental side. We see it happening with our coastlines. We see it happening in terms of destruction to the mangroves. And of course, very critical is loss of life, and which we absolutely don't want to happen. That's the first thing that we want to look at. So we want to keep people safe. So if you're in a zone that's potentially going to be affected, we want to be able to move you to a space that's going to be safer. You want to be in a shelter that's more sturdy than your personal home if your home is not going to stand up to the particular event. So that's a big part of what we do, talking at the sectoral level. And then when events do occur, which they will, we can't stop them, we have to respond. And we recognize that we're all small states in the Caribbean, which means that no one of us has everything that we need, particularly when catastrophic impacts occur. So the idea behind the agency is that we are able to pool our resources. So we've trained personnel here in the Cayman Islands from your regiment, police, HMCI, and they have different types of skill sets that are really useful in the aftermath of events. So if something happens, we can basically borrow personnel from countries that haven't been impacted, bring them into those states that have been impacted to assist you, because that's the time you really need the assistance. And we also coordinate relief if that's a requirement. We work with our international partners to make sure that whatever it is that you need, we can get that into you.
Okay, with that, folks, the voice that you're hearing there is the voice of Miss Liz Riley, who's the Executive Director of CDEMA. Also in the studio with us this morning, we have Miss Dana Coleman, who is the Director of Hazard Management, Cayman Islands. Off camera, we have Mr. Mandela.
Yeah, Mr. Mandela Who's preparedness and planning, and lots of other things. But he will probably tell you about it when he does join us behind the mic.
Certainly. With that, we're going to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite band-aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. But don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Looking for the ultimate place to watch the world's biggest football tournament? Head to Legends Bar and Grill, Coca-Cola's headquarters for every match. It's the closest you'll feel to being at the games live with Coca-Cola Mixer Specials all tournament long. Feel the energy and cheer on your favorite team surrounded by your country colors. Can't make it out? No problem. Order Legends' famous menu for home delivery and bring the matchday experience to your living room. Legends Bar and Grill, your World Cup Coca-Cola headquarters.
Cineco's parametric insurance after hurricanes is now available for motor policies. Fixed automatic payouts cover incidental vehicle expenses like fuel, cleanup, and minor repairs. No claims, no damage required. $200 for comprehensive policies or $100 for third-party policies. Available exclusively through Cineco and included with all new motor insurance policies and upon renewal for current policies. Visit Cineco.ky today. Cineco. Keeping Cayman covered.
Babe, not tonight. You keep poking me and I need to be rested for meetings tomorrow.
What? I was almost asleep. That's the mattress spring I keep telling you about, not me. We really need to get a new mattress.
Tossing and turning, back hurting, can't sleep? It might be time to turn in your old mattress and go to bed with a new one. Browse the huge mattress showroom at Brand Source Home Gallery and pick the perfect mattress today. With mattresses to suit every budget, Brand Source Home Gallery stocks a wide selection of sizes and styles like pillow top and gel memory foam. So stop tossing and turning and sleep better tonight with a new mattress from Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, we're continuing our discussion about preparedness. Just a little bit of housekeeping as well. Our panelists, they will be here with us at least until 9 o'clock, maybe a little bit before because they do have other commitments as well. But if you have any questions or comments in relation to preparedness, please send those to our WhatsApp number. That WhatsApp number is 925-3261. 925-3261. I will share the comments or the questions with our panelists as well. And we have added Mr. Mandela Christian, put him on camera as well, so he's with us. Mr. Christian, good morning. Welcome to For the Record, and tell us about yourself and your role at CDEMA.
Okay, thank you very much for having me here, and good morning, Cayman Islands. It's a pleasure to be here. It's actually my first time in the Cayman Islands, and I'm
welcome.
it. So yes, my name is Mandela Christian. I am the program manager for preparedness and response at CDEMA, and as the name says, it's my responsibility at CDEMA to prepare the region for any eventuality, not just hurricanes. We live in a multi-hazard environment, so we need to understand what hazards face the region and ensure that we have mechanisms in place to detect them and to provide support to any states that is impacted by that hazard. And basically just maintain a well-rehearsed, very robust mechanism to provide search support to any of our 20 member states, to which Cayman Islands as one of those states. And we consider them families, family members, basically. So that's why I'm here, getting to know my brother and sisters in Cayman a bit better, so that if we do have to provide that support to them, we are very much oriented to the mechanisms, to the systems, and we know who the players are, who the key partners are, so that it's not a foreign body trying to fit into the system, into the mechanism at that point, at a point of need. We would already be very much familiar with each other and know the system, so we can seamlessly plug in and provide that critical support that is needed in time during this period.
I think Mandela's completely right there. He brings up the whole relationship thing, because of course any response requires technical abilities and competencies and so forth, but those relationships really are the most important thing of everything. You know, when we've had, for example, we have a big hurricane, and you know, you've done 2 or 3 days of activation, you're absolutely exhausted, and then a familiar face walks into the NEAC, because we've invited them in, obviously, and again, there you are, knowing how the structure works, how they can sort of embed into the structure, and work very closely with us is really helpful. And even more so, you know, over the last couple of years, obviously we've been members of CDEMA for a couple of years now, a few years now, and even, you know, for tropical storms, you know, Liz will call me or Mandela will call and say, just how are you guys doing? And that call itself is so good for morale. So, you know, you can't underestimate those relationships. And again, working together as a family is sharing resources, sharing surge capacity, and it's just a really good asset for us in the Cayman Islands and for the region.
Okay, earlier, Ms. Riley spoke to the fact that Cayman Islands, we're an associate member of CARICOM, and we're a full member of CDEMA. And I would imagine that with membership brings privileges, but also those privileges, someone has to pay for them as well. How is CDEMA funded?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll respond on that. But if I may, I'll just step back a little bit on about the membership and the privileges, because one of the things that we always need to make clear is that CDEMA is comprised of the coordinating unit, which I head in Barbados, but also the 20 participating states. So it's really a system. And with all systems, all parts of the system have to work well. The side that is coordinated by myself, with Mandela supporting, but also in terms of the obligations of every state. So, for example, all the work that Hazard Management Cayman Islands does here in the Cayman Islands, if you look in the agreement establishing CDEMA, these are actually obligations of the country.
Okay.
So everything that Danny's doing in terms of pushing her programming, working with the partners, the preparedness, the discussions on recovery, that's all in the agreement establishing CDEMA, and says that Cayman Islands, having signed on to the agency, that is a part of what they must do.
Okay.
So I'm just saying that as a plug, Danny, to make sure the great support you get continues. So on the funding, just to talk on the funding piece, it's a really important piece because everything costs, right? So the way we are funded is basically through 2 avenues. It is the contributions from the states that are members of CDEMA, every state has to make an annual payment to the organization, and that goes towards the administrative costs of running the coordinating unit. So it will pay the salaries of the team at the unit, ensure that we can keep the water going, the electricity going, any capital costs to get us new equipment, etc., that type of thing. But the programming of the agency is actually not covered by those contributions. So our team does a lot of work in resource mobilization, and there are many partners that we work with, both traditional development partners who provide financing, and some of these would include the UK, through the UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, which Danny mentioned a minute ago, but also the European Union, Government of Canada. We work also with Norway, Japan. We work with international non-governmental organizations. Private philanthropic organizations also provide support. Most recently, we've just signed on agreements with Government of Spain and also Ireland. So there's a whole diversity of partners that provide support to CDEMA. In the private sector space, we get a lot of support as well. So for example, we have agreements with some of the big shipping lines in the region, and where they may not bring financial resources to CDEMA, they provide a lot of support otherwise. So for 4 of the shipping companies in the region, we have arrangements where they actually have agreed to move relief items for us from places which are donating relief into countries which are requesting relief assistance. And in almost all instances, 3 of the 4 instances, the costs are fully zero rated. So this is the kind of support and partnership that Danny was talking about, and we cannot do it without those partners.
We have about 2 minutes very quickly while we're on this topic. What about private or corporate entities, especially in the tourism industry, those hotels that have changed throughout the various islands and stuff like that? Are they involved as well? Because they have so much at stake when it comes to recovery after any disastrous event.
Actually, we have a partnership with Sandals Foundation.
Okay.
They have been a big supporter of one of our programs. One of the things we've been looking at is what are the kinds of skills and competencies that the leadership of national disaster or emergency management organizations need to have. And it's a big job. When you think about it, the kind of dynamism that is required, because it's not just about knowing the technical skills, but as Danny was mentioning, we have to work with the political leadership. We have to be able to sell ideas to them and keep them engaged. We have to develop partnerships with private, public sector, civil society. So we worked with Sandals Foundation. They supported the development of a leadership course, Leadership for Emergency Managers. It's a specialized course we got done with the Arthur Lockjack Business School at the University of the West Indies in Trinidad. And we've been working, providing that offer of support to take that course across the entire region. We've been able to train up heads of offices, deputies, because we're also looking at succession planning to make sure that they have those skills and competencies to really provide leadership in the discipline.
Okay, folks, we've reached that top of the hour when we return the conversation with Miss Liz Riley, Mr. Mandela Christian, both from CDEMA, and Miss Dana Coleman from Hazard Management Cayman Islands will continue. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. A man will learn his fate next month for charges of having a fake passport and illegal entry into the Cayman Islands. Radio Cayman's Dion Englund reports.
Freddie Ofori Ajakumhena remains in custody at His Majesty's prison in Northwood as he awaits sentencing following his conviction on several immigration and document-related offences. Ajakumhena was found guilty of possessing a fake passport, illegally entering the Cayman Islands, uttering a false note, and failing to truthfully answer a Customs and Border Control officer. A sentencing date was set when he appeared in the summary court on Wednesday before Magistrate Philippa McFarlane. Ajakumhena is scheduled to be sentenced on July 27th, allowing time for pre-sentencing reports to be prepared. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Dion Anglin.
Cayman is holding the line on robberies, but is still battling repeat offenders and noisy roads. Commissioner Kurt Walton tells Radio Cayman's The Buzz there have been 25 robberies so far this year, about the same as last year, and officers have made 28 related arrests. Some suspects picked up more than once.
Whereas we may not solve all 25, we may solve 30%. But the bit there for me is the outcome that we've got these individuals who have been removed from the streets who have committed more than one robbery, and they are now in Norfolk prison.
Mr. Walton says CCTV has been a great tool in solving crime, and by the end of July, every frontline officer is expected to be wearing a body camera to capture evidence and boost accountability. The commissioner also tells Radio Cayman after community meetings from the BRAC to West Bay highlighted speeding, loud vehicles, and dump trucks using Jake brakes as major concerns, he's ordered officers to prosecute drivers who abuse them. To boost visible policing and traffic enforcement, the RCIPS is recruiting young Caymanian constables with applications for the next class closing June 14th. Details are available at rcips.ky. The Ministry of Health is celebrating the academic achievement of Policy Support Officer Novianne McLean-Gregory, who has been awarded a Doctor of Philosophy Cell Biology from the University of Kent. Dr. McLean-Gregory has now returned to Cayman to contribute to the national health priorities through public service.
What motivates me is knowing that the work we do here can help improve outcomes for people in the Cayman Islands. That sense of purpose is what keeps me focused.
Her PhD focused on obesity, investigating the role of a specific gene involved in appetite regulation, energy balance, mitochondrial function, and fat storage. Acting Chief Officer for the ministry, Exie Tomlinson Panton, says that the government remains committed to developing strong professional pathways for staff at all levels.
We are proud of Dr. McLean-McGregory and proud to have professionals within the ministry who bring both international experience and local understanding to their work. It is this combination that supports better policy development and stronger outcomes for our country.
The ministry says her work is particularly relevant to Cayman, where obesity remains a, quote, significant public health concern. And you're invited to explore a new exhibition that considers the significance of medium as a defining element of creative expression. Medium, the Materiality of Making, opens June 24th, and National Gallery curator William Helfrecht says utilizing distinct categories of making as the exhibition's foundational structure, artworks will be organized around 5 motifs: line, form, field, color, and the digital space.
Each grouping includes an accompanying wall text which unpacks related terminology as well as the evolution of specific media within the wider context of the history of art.
The exhibition will run at the gallery through November 12th. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. One of the world's most influential artists, David Hockney, has died. He was 88. Born in northern England, Hockney emerged as a key figure in the pop art movement. In the 1960s, he moved to Los Angeles. The city's light and lifestyle inspired some of his best-known works. Iran says that major parts of an agreement to end the war with the US have almost been finalised, but that it won't compromise on its red lines. President Trump has again claimed that a peace deal is imminent. The UN's top official on HIV and AIDS says that the global response to the disease is being threatened by huge cuts in funding from wealthy nations. Winnie Byanyima said almost 40% fewer people got a drug to help prevent HIV infection in 2025 compared to the previous year. That's the latest BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio. Beach and Reggae Sundays on Breeze 105.3 FM from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health. 2 locations, Governor Square and Grand Harbor. Governor Square open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Grand Harbor open Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and open on Sundays, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 947-8900 or visit healthcarepharmacy.ky.
Are you looking for more weekend getaways with Friday flights? Well, Cayman Airways has added Friday flights to Panama for a limited time this summer. They're perfect for short and long weekend getaways, quick business trips, or easy connections across Latin America. And if Jamaica is on your summer wish list, seasonal summer flights to Montego Bay are also available. Call Cayman Airways on 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com. See you on board our Friday flights to Panama this summer.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
All right, good Friday morning, Cayman. Let's take a look at your weather right now. Looking on the outside, some sun peeking through, but a bit of cloud cover. Present temperature 82 degrees Fahrenheit, but the real feel is at 94 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds still 2 miles per hour out of the east. Relative humidity 84%, and the barometric pressure at 29.93 inches and falling. Synopsis as provided by the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Moderate southeasterly winds and seas are expected to continue across the Cayman area for the next couple of days. Available moisture present in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere will support the presence of cloudy skies. Our forecast for today: cloudy skies, 30% chances of isolated showers. Temperatures will rise to the upper 80s. Winds will be southeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Later this evening, cloudy skies, 20% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the lower 80s. Winds will be southeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. We're presently in a high tide. Low tide will be at 1:24 this afternoon. High at 8:21 tonight and low at 2:26 tomorrow morning. Sunset later on this evening at 7:02. And the outlook is for an increase in shower activity through the weekend to the long weekend. Yeah, I stand corrected. It's going to be a long weekend as a tropical wave drifts across the northwest Caribbean. And my friends, it's the latest weather brought to you by our good friends at CG Britcay.
We were on the edge of a breakthrough. I knew the substance was extraterrestrial, but I didn't realize.
Aunt Angie, what does this have to do with managing my insurance?
Well, long story long, the entire lab exploded. And the radioactive sludge went everywhere. I ended up in the hospital for a few weeks, but I was able to manage everything with the CG online portal.
The online portal. Safe, convenient, simple. CG Britcay. Good like that.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
The 7:20 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Credit Union, on the road to 50 years of serving our members. Visit creditunion.ky to join today.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
All right, let's take a quick look at the traffic movements coming out of the eastern districts. Things are moving fair to fine, similar out to the east-west arterial. Not much traffic there. Red Bay roundabout, similar. Just a little bottleneck at the Century 21 roundabout to the outside Hurley's. Continuing on to the CUC roundabout, things look okay there as well, with traffic flowing into the Georgetown area. And of course, trying to get a camera onto Jose's area where traffic is moving smoothly with the expanded lanes. So you just know which lane to get into. Similar with on Agnes Way with the expanded lanes, so traffic should flow much better. And of course, turning up towards Shedden Road with the expanded lanes there as well. Traffic seems to be much better in terms of flow. And of course, getting past the airport onto Roberts Drive. You're heading towards the airport now to catch your flight. Very light traffic. Dorsey Drive, light traffic. Heading up to, looking at the Bobby Thompson Way, though, we do see the usual traffic at the traffic lights and a bit of congestion along Huldah Avenue heading towards the CNB roundabout. To the Butterfield roundabout itself, expect just the usual northward bound traffic towards the Butterfield roundabout, and there's a bit of traffic heading east towards Dorsey Drive, some traffic coming off the SLE Tibbets, and traffic heading northward towards West Bay along the SLE Tibbets. Expect the traffic coming up to the Kamado Bay roundabout and the second roundabout just after that, after the Fosters, and then things start to flow much better. West Bay Road, seeing some light traffic here and there, pedestrian movement feeding into Norchard Street into Seafarers Way and the inner streets of Georgetown as well. Shannon Road, see light traffic. So yeah, that's how things are flowing this morning time. Not too bad. Of course, buckle up, stay safe. Look out for pedestrians, those on e-scooters, e-bikes, motorbikes, bicycles. Have yourself an enjoyable long weekend. Your traffic report brought to you by our good friends at Subway.
Start your year off right with Subway's Fresh Fit menu. 4 protein-packed subs with 20 grams or more protein, under 500 calories, and loaded with full servings of crisp veggies on hearty multi-grain bread. Try the grilled chicken and avocado, the ham and turkey stacker, the seasoned steak and avocado, or the turkey and ranch delight. Big flavor, plenty of protein, and fresh veggies in every bite. Fuel your day the Fresh Fit way. Only at Subway. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
This is Cheryl Ebanks Miller, the Cayman Islands' very first female radio announcer. What a privilege that has been for me. And I just want to say happy 50th anniversary Radio Cayman. It was wonderful being here from the very beginning. And I wish you all much success for future years and that it'll get even better.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about preparedness here in the Cayman Islands. And of course, this entire week has been focused on recovery. So it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me from CDEMA, Miss Liz Riley, who is the executive director of CDEMA, along with Mr. Mandela Coleman, also in the studio with us. Miss
Mandela Christian.
Christian, sorry.
Yeah, I haven't married him yet.
Where did I get Coleman? I'm way ahead of myself. So, Mr. Mandela Christian and Miss Danny Coleman. Of course, she is the Director of Hazard Management, Cayman Islands. And we have also been joined by Mr. Andy Hill from the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. So, Mr. Hill, good morning. Welcome to For the Record, and tell us about yourself and your organization.
Well, good morning. So I'm from the UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, work on the humanitarian side of the business, and we major on preparedness for crises around the globe. So not just hurricane preparedness, but also other events as well, and very much a global role. But delighted to be here. We've worked very closely with hazard management in the Cayman Islands for many years now, and very much here in a supportive role, working and talking to partners on the ground to see how and if at all we can help and assist with your preparations for the current season that we are now in.
Mm-hmm. And certainly as a former civil servant, I have seen over the years the ramping up of the UK's involvement in terms of disaster preparedness. And I think the lesson learned was after Hurricane Ivan, when, we all struggled, to put things in place. I mean, Cayman Islands never had a recovery manager, in those days as well. So someone, was shuttled into that position, without any prior experience. We were fortunate in Cayman to have the resources, governmental wise, as well as the private sector, to be able to coordinate and facilitate a fairly quick recovery to get us, back on our feet. But not all jurisdictions are so lucky, and we can't always rely on luck. So that is why we have these structures in place now as well. Danny?
I think we should never rely on luck. I think we're very lucky to be living in the Cayman Islands, but at the same time, luck is not something we want to expect or rely on. Again, I think, and just for those who don't know, OC was the recovery coordinator back then in Ivan and did a tremendous job. And it's funny this week to be talking with you on this topic, because you were obviously the guru of this topic back 22 years ago. I think recovery is such an important asset and conversation to be had, and also getting those plans in place. So we've done a lot of work this week to make sure that recovery plan is up to date. We do have a recovery plan, we have a relief distribution plan, and we have sector-specific plans like hurricane, earthquake, tsunami, and so forth. But again, recovery is such a neglected conversation, and we need to make sure that everything is ready to go in the aftermath. So when that all clear gets given, what happens? How do businesses stay alive? How does the tourism sector stay alive? How does the agriculture get back up and running when there's a lot of destruction of the crops? How does the island continue to prosper, and how do we build back better? So it's not just building back, it's making sure I can't remember what the conversation, trans resilience. So, making sure that what we're doing in the aftermath of destruction from any large scale incident is we build back better. We make sure the building codes are reinforced. I think in Cayman we saw a lot of great building codes come as a result of Ivan, and you can talk more about that, OC. But, obviously the infrastructure changed quite dramatically over the years, and we do have some very solid structures, and we're very happy about that, because again, that's resilience building and mitigation tools to ensure that if by chance we do get a big storm, the buildings can stand up to whatever we face. But again, there's always going to be destruction. So how do we make sure we can continue as a country? And one of our responsibilities at hazard management is to review and train the government on business continuity. So ensuring again that everyone's business continuity plans are submitted to us every year by the April the 30th. We review them, we provide feedback. I think one thing we have to realise, and we've come a long way in this, because in the past we've had these sort of templates that government departments would fill out, and they'd be thinking about their own department. But there's so many codependencies, If by chance, a private sector want to evacuate, how do they operate as a law firm overseas? What kind of IP issues? What kind of software? What kind of, do they need general register of companies? There's so many interdependencies there. So we have to make sure that we, one, understand our own business continuity, but also of those who rely on us to make sure that they can continue business in the aftermath of any large-scale event, especially if we have our comms issues and the infrastructure is severely impacted.
Okay, Ms. Riley, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just to complement Danny's statement. So accelerating recovery and recovery arrangements is actually strategic objective number 3 of CDEMA's strategic plan for 2022 to 2027. And for exactly the reasons that Danny cited earlier, what we notice is that across our 20 participating states, when we assessed where those states were at there's an audit that we apply to those states, every state scored lowest on the phase of recovery. And we recognized we had to intervene because we are having events more frequently. The events are more destructive, and the losses are a lot more. And so we embarked on a strategic intervention. Is how do we prepare countries to recover? And so we started looking at the suite of instruments that we needed to provide to countries. So we upgraded our audit instrument and expanded the recovery component so that when we apply that audit instrument, countries have a better sense now of where they are at with respect to recovery. So it looks at things like who's responsible? Is there actually anyone who's been identified, whether by legislation or otherwise, maybe through a policy instrument, to say this particular ministry is the one that's going to guide the recovery efforts? Are we clear on what the responsibilities of individual ministries are? So Danny was talking, for example, tourism, housing. These are all sectors which have very specific and nuanced components that you have to think about. How do you actually go about doing that recovery? And importantly, how do all of those pieces work together in the recovery arrangements? So you're looking now at governance structures. So in the same way that we have good arrangements nationally on how we coordinate response when we come together in the National Emergency Operations Center, recovery has to be treated in the same way so that it's really clear what everybody is doing. So we did the audit instrument, we upgraded that. Countries can now assess themselves better on recovery. We have a guidance document. We prepare standard documents in CDEMA so that countries can take it and just adapt it to their particular circumstance. So we prepared a model national recovery plan with an adaptation guide along with it. We've been working with our partners to look at training courses to develop the skills and competencies required for recovery. So we were talking about how you may have been thrown in at the deep end with no training. And the reality is that's often what happens. People are, okay, well, you lead recovery. Okay, well, how do I do that? So what we're trying to do is to do training so that persons understand what is recovery all about. What are the things that I need to think about if I'm going to lead those recovery efforts? Because we need to empower persons for recovery as well. And then in addition, the heads of government have also asked us to put a surge support arrangement in place for recovery. This one we're still working through, but it's an approach that is very similar to what we use for response. So in the same way that we can borrow personnel from countries and bring them into a country for response, the thinking is that for recovery, very often you need surge arrangements in particular areas. So for example, we've had countries which have been devastated, and we know that there are particular geographical zones that are particularly vulnerable, and you may have to relocate communities, which means that you need additional assistance on the physical planning side of things. So basically the idea is if Cayman Islands has physical planners who can assist, say, another state that needs to do now major relocations, we should be able to say to the Cayman Islands, can you loan us one of your physical planners for maybe 3 months to go into that country and work with their planners to assist them with those relocation efforts? So this is the thinking behind the surge support. It's still a work in progress. We've been able to provide some support in St. Vincent and in Grenada after Beryl. Particularly in St. Vincent, they asked for project managers, and we were able to provide some resources to get additional project managers to help them push through the increase in the projects that had to be undertaken. So this is what we're trying to do on the recovery front. It is such a critical, absolutely critical area.
So, Mr. Hill, as far as the Foreign and Commonwealth and Development Office is concerned, your remit doesn't just extend to the overseas territories because we do have the word Commonwealth in there. So I would imagine any Caribbean nation that is a part of the Commonwealth would also benefit from whatever services you provide. Can you talk about that for us?
Absolutely. We have, as you're aware, historical links and connections with many different island states throughout the whole of the Caribbean. His Majesty the King, obviously, is head of the Commonwealth and takes a very keen interest in the activities that we undertake. And I think just going back into the recovery discussion that's just taken place, I've been involved in this business now for some 14, 15 years. And over that time, I've seen huge increase in almost the professionalisation of the response community. And it is a community through the good offices of CDEMA and other coordinating mechanisms. We have built this community where we very much exchange and share our lesson learning processes, which hopefully means that we deliver more and in a better and more efficient way for those people affected by crisis. And that's certainly something that we encourage all the way through. And we've seen, as a result of Irma and Maria, for example, we've seen the establishment of how we coordinate internationally, the different international responders, to work together in a very efficient and effective way. And we can chalk up some successes there, which is wonderful to see. It wasn't very many weeks ago that we were all together in Miami in a Overseas Territories conference, and again sharing lessons, giving presentations and learning from each other. We are very much in working with our partners and working with states in a supportive role and understanding what those needs are. It's the member states themselves who understand those needs far greater than we do. We have to be able to listen and react and respond in an appropriate way.
Okay, Mr. Mandela, we want to get you into the conversation as well. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we want to bring you in as soon as we return from that. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Cineco's parametric insurance after hurricanes is now available for motor policies. Fixed automatic payouts cover incidental vehicle expenses like fuel, cleanup, and minor repairs. No claims, no damage required. $200 for comprehensive policies or $100 for third-party policies. Available exclusively through Cineco and included with all new motor insurance policies and upon renewal for current policies. Visit cineco.ky today. Cineco. Keeping Cayman covered.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Did you know there are over 100 Adventist-owned businesses right here in the Cayman Islands? Adventist entrepreneurs are making a powerful impact across Cayman. Join us on Sunday, June 28th at 2 p.m. at the Lion Center, Grand Cayman for the ASI Cayman Business and Career Expo. Explore products and services, enjoy exclusive discounts, free samples, giveaways, and exciting prizes. Need a wellness check? Enjoy free health screenings and relaxing massage therapy. Thinking about your future career? Young people, students, and job seekers, whether you're looking to grow your business, plan your future, network with professionals, or simply enjoy a great community event, this is the place to be. Admission is absolutely free. The ASI Cayman Business and Career Expo. Showcase, connect, succeed. Sunday, June 28th, 2 p.m. at the Lion Center. For more information, visit asicayman.interamerica.org.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, we are talking about preparedness for various disasters in the Cayman Islands. The focus this week is on recovery. In the studio with me, we have Miss Liz Riley and Mr. Mandela Christian from CDEMA. We also have Mr. Andy Hill from the FCDO, and of course, our Danny Coleman from Cayman Islands Hazard Management as well. So before we went to the commercial break, I promised that we would bring Mr. Mandela Christian into the discussion in terms of talking about recovery as well. Over to you, sir.
Oh, and recovery.
Yeah.
Well,
if you want to take it in another direction, feel free to do so.
I'm going to complement what was shared before, because as you know, the system, it's all very much integrated. The various phases of the disaster management cycle, they don't stand alone. One feeds into the other. So before there's recovery, of course, we have to prepare for the event. There has to be an event to recover from, an impact. And then after the impact, we have to respond and to deal with the immediate emergency effects, and then that leads into a recovery. So it is all very much integrated. But the key thing I want to highlight, though, is that, and I think what it was said, I think is just to reinforce that recovery planning doesn't start at the point where we're ready to recover. It starts with the planning in blue sky periods like now. We need to ensure that we have the plans, the policies in place. We know what we will do, who we are going to work with when that time comes about. So we support recovery planning. We integrate the factors of recovery planning from the preparedness side of things. When we are supporting response, if the countries do call on us to respond, and we send in teams into the countries to support, it could be damage assessments, provide such support with the emergency operations. We ensure that we are operating in a manner that what we are doing at that point is complementing or will complement the recovery efforts. It's not going to undermine it or create a secondary challenge for the recovery plans coming that will come after. So it's all very much integrated and woven together to ensure that the system is seamless.
Now, Ms. Riley mentioned about relocating people as well. Sometimes that may be necessary, either within a jurisdiction or outside a jurisdiction. Now, we haven't seen a whole lot of outside the jurisdiction, but we do know that we had the case of Montserrat. When the volcano erupted over there, and more than half of the population actually had to be relocated to other jurisdictions. And of course, here in Cayman, we did our part, as well as the UK in terms of taking in others as well. But that is one of the things that we need to plan for, and it may be not as a result of a natural disaster, but it could be in the case of a man-made disaster. I keep reminding people, of the vulnerability of the Cayman Islands in the event there's any military action taken by the United States in Cuba, for instance. Can we speak to that? Not necessarily Cuba, but in terms of relocation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad you raised this point, because the the matter of displacement and forced migration is a phenomena, I think it has always been with us in the Caribbean. So even if we think back to 1978, and this is, I've been told. Let me not age myself.
You're not aging yourself.
Not aging myself here. Back to Hurricane David, just getting stories from persons in Dominica who were affected by Hurricane David, and it actually resulted in significant numbers from Dominica moving into other Caribbean islands. I was just in Antigua last week, and we were talking about what happened after David and how many Dominican students came into the school system in Antigua as a result of it. And we've seen that throughout the years. So in 2017, we saw situations with a lot of movements after Irma and Maria. And if you look at how life paths have changed because of hazard impacts, we have a strong record of that. But the points that you raise around what conflict is resulting in for our discipline, these are real conversations. And as a matter of fact, we had a discussion on it at the Technical Advisory Committee meeting just in the Virgin Islands in April. And one of the things we were discussing is that conflict is now a factor that we have to address in humanitarian action. And this was not always the case in the Caribbean. So even if we look at Haiti, which is one of the CDEMA participating states, gang violence has had significant implications for the level of effectiveness of the Civil Protection Department there. At one point, the team at that office were not able to get into their office to work. There are many communities where they're unable to do their preparedness work coming into this year's hurricane season, and it has implications, therefore, for the safety of the population. And with respect to some of the other geopolitical issues within the Caribbean space, the Venezuela situation has had implications for us. If we look throughout the entire island chain, we now have pockets of Venezuelan migrants who are within traditional English-speaking communities, and this has caused changes in terms of the languages that have to now be integrated into the work that our National Emergency Management Officers are doing. And you raised the point on Cuba, and this is a very critical issue. What has happened with respect to Cuba is that we're seeing the increasing vulnerability of a population because of geopolitical actions. And there is a potential, of course, if Cuba is impacted this year, it is a possibility that you may see outflows of persons from Cuba. And Cayman Islands, of course, is a concern for the Cayman Islands, also for Jamaica, which is very close by to Cuba. And I think these are matters that we now have to plan for because the scenarios can play out. And so it's important that ahead of time we give some thought to this. What would we do if we find a situation where there are significant landings of persons who feel as if they're forced to move from Cuba, if they land here in the Cayman Islands, if they land in Jamaica, because some kind of facility will have to be provided for them. And at the end of the day, we are all people, and we have to care for people. And sometimes persons are forced to undertake actions which are not necessarily of their own doing, but they feel that this is what may be necessary for survival or how to keep your family safe. So all of these are things that we have to think about. Of course, they're sovereign states that they would then be impacted by these outward movements. What will be our policy position with respect to it? We need to think about it ahead of when it happens.
Okay, Mr. Hill, anything you want to add to that?
I would just build on what Liz has just said, to the extent that it is now well understood that conflict is a key driver of migration. To that extent, the FCDO is currently undergoing a restructuring process. So the team that I work in was the humanitarian operations response team. We will very shortly become the conflict and humanitarian operations response team. So by bringing conflict closer to, or the knowledge and the understanding of the drivers of conflict into our humanitarian world, we're increasing that understanding both ways. But absolutely, totally agree with the fact that, that there is so much more recognition now that conflict will result in humanitarian issues that need to be addressed. So I think we are well poised to be able to pick some of that up and respond to it.
Danny?
Again, I can talk about what we're doing about that. Of course, it's, as you say, it's a natural emergency, or maybe it's a man-made and a natural emergency. But in Cuba, we do a lot of work with our multi-agency partners to ensure that there is a plan in place, but also that accommodations organised. And we did a tabletop about 2 months ago to really test the system. And it wasn't just a load of Cuban migrants arriving, some refugees, genuine refugees, obviously some economic migrants, but also language barriers and also a disease and hurricanes. We sort of threw it all in there because I don't think these days doing an exercise for one issue is realistic. I think we've seen, so many things happen at the same time, and we have to be making sure that we're really testing ourselves to the absolute limits. You think you've got it in control, then all of a sudden, the Black Swan event happens, and so we're making sure we're doing that. And again, it's a multi-agency collaborative approach with border control, with even things like mental health. It all come into that. So how do we make sure we're ready for that? And again, I think it's true to say that with resources, obviously with global politics, resources have changed over the last couple of years, be it, I know I won't go into sort of politics too much, but, with focus elsewhere in Ukraine and focus in Venezuela and, obviously funding sources in the US drying up somewhat, it has an impact. And we have to really think outside the box. How do we work together with the resources we have to strengthen each other? Because the hazards certainly aren't going away. As Liz said, they're getting more and more. The population's increasing, so even that adds another benefit. It has a benefit and issues. But again, that risk profile is changing, so we need to change with it, and we need to make sure we can use each other's resources and work together to adapt to ensure we can all respond effectively.
And of course, here in Cayman as well, we had a situation where totally uncoordinated, but it worked, where people from Grand Cayman had to relocate to Cayman Brac.
Absolutely. And we talked a lot about that this week, and we'll talk more about it in the exercise today, because again, there are the chances that, one of the islands or two of the islands may get impacted and the others might not. So how do we increase that accommodation, surge capacity, and how do we make sure that our business can continue in one of the other islands? If the BRAC gets affected, well, how do we bring the BRAC here? There's so many, and that's just inter-island, let alone the wider region. It's a lot of conversations, a lot of sort of logistics, and a lot of things we really need to think about.
Okay, we're going to take our last commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly. Let me check and see if we're having it.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite Band-Aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. Don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Looking for an unforgettable night of dance and entertainment? Join the Cayman Islands National Dance Company for Mosaic, our 38th season, June 13th at 7 p.m. and 14th at 5 p.m. at the Harkwell Theatre. Experience a vibrant celebration of culture, creativity, and storytelling through dance. Tickets are $30 for adults, $15 for children. Get your tickets today at Radiance Dance Studio, Audiophile Group, Winner's Circle, Funky Tangs, or call 926-1826. Mosaic is proudly sponsored by the Audiophile Group, Ingenue Marketing, and ARC Directors. Don't miss it! June 13th and 14th, Harkwell Theatre.
The countdown is on. Join us on Saturday, 11th July, 7 p.m. at the historic Pedro St. James for an unforgettable evening under the theme Starlit Shores. Watch 6 outstanding young Caymanian women take the stage as they compete for the prestigious title of Miss Universe Cayman Islands 2026. Experience an evening filled with elegance, confidence, culture, entertainment, and inspiration. Tickets are available now on Ticket Plus and at Funky Monkey. Join us as we enter a new era.
Diamonds shining in the tide.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last portion of this segment of the show talking about preparedness for disasters, man-made and natural disasters as well, focusing in particular on recovery. It has been my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Miss Liz Riley and Mr. Mandela Christian from CDEMA. Mr. Andy Hill from FCDO, and our own Miss Danielle Coleman as well. So, Miss Riley, I think you wanted to add some commentary to the inter-island not recovery, but part of the recovery and the ability for people to move from one jurisdiction to the other as well.
Yes, thank you so much. I wanted to pick up on Danny's last point just before the break, and she was talking about exercising scenarios of moving persons within the space of the geographical space of the Cayman Islands. And I think this is one of the advantages of being part of the CDEMA family, because we have had several similar experiences in multi-island jurisdictions before. We saw it in the Bahamas with Dorian, where the impacts were principally on the Abacos and Grand Bahama, and we had to move significant numbers off of the Abacos onto the mainland and onto other family islands. Again, in Beryl in 2024, where the impacts were principally on the Grenadines of St. Vincent, and on the Grenada side, on Petit Martinique and Carriacou, in that tri-island state with movements into Grenada. And also an important was Antigua and Barbuda in 2017 with Hurricane Irma, where the entire island of Barbuda had to be evacuated, and this was because they had a direct strike from Irma, and then within less than a week, Jose, another Category 5, threatened, and because the island had been devastated, everyone had to be moved. So I think those experiences and the plans that were developed in those multi-island jurisdictions to deal with the displacement issues would be very important lessons for the Cayman Islands in your planning and your exercising. And this is one of the, I think, really good things about the network within the CDEMA system. You can talk to your peers and also learn from their experiences, and they can help you to plan for potentially what might happen in your space as well.
I think that's a really good point. You know, we're talking about surge capacity and the mechanism in the region to help each other. You know, I think for Cayman, I know in BVI, for example, a number of us went to BVI for a month or two to help with that response, be it the police, be it medical, hazard management and so forth, governance as well for the Governor's Office. Learning from being in a different country and learning whilst not being impacted yourself is one of the best learning you can do. You know, when you've got no resources, you've got no water, you're sleeping rough and whatever else, but you're, you know, in it for a month and you're really embedded in the structure and the response. So you're learning so much, and then you can bring it back home to your own country and actually, you know, make sure the plans are up to speed and make sure that the response we do here we can do with a bit more of a, you know, trained mind, because you're not focusing on your own house or your own families or your own children. You've already got that almost embedded in the system. So I think even with Jamaica last year was a great example. We had some of our regiment folk over there. We worked very closely with CDEMA and ODPEM with that response last year in regards to how does Cayman help Jamaica. Obviously, two of the flights were the first two planes in with supplies in, but we're still helping ODPEM now, working closely with ODPEM to ensure that we can do whatever we can from Cayman to help them. But that helping of each other is just so important. And again, going back to those relationships, the brothers and sisters in the region, we really need to work together to help each other and to train each other and work together.
Okay, we have about 8 minutes left to go. I want to give each of you an opportunity for some closing comments as well. And we're going to start with Mr. Hill.
Okay, thank you for that. As far as closing comments go, I think we were discussing earlier, we've seen over the years great technological advances coming, and we're experiencing what with AI and what's around the corner there, the ability to model different contexts and different storms of different strengths, and our flooding mapping and our warning capabilities are just expanding all the time and becoming better and better. But I don't think that should make us complacent. We can't rely on all of those things. And we monitor from the UK every wave that comes across the Atlantic all the way through the season. So, you know, and we are but one organisation doing that. There are many others. But I think in all of this advanced technology that we're incorporating into our responses and into the recovery, we need to be mindful of the basics of awareness, training and preparation, and really focus in on those. And this isn't just a 6-month activity. This is a year after year after year activity. But I think we're in a much better position now than we were certainly when I started doing this 15 years ago.
Excellent, excellent. Mr. Christian.
Yes, thank you very much for closing remarks. Just want to remind persons that, as we said, this is a system, we are family, and we are as strong as the weakest link. So we work to prepare the region really on three folds. We work at the regional level to ensure that our partners, the regional, the international partners, they are prepared. They are aware of the updated plans and policies, the lessons learned from past events. We incorporate it, and we are all singing from the same hymn sheet. At the same time, we work at the national level with the various national disaster offices, such as Hazard Management Cayman Islands, to ensure that the national preparedness measures are in place. Because at the end of the day, we pool on surge support at the national level and deploy them to of the non-impacted states and deploy them to impacted states. So if we have strong national systems, that means the wider system is strong and resilient on a whole. And then, of course, we have to look at our internal preparedness, and that is not just for CDEMA. It is just a general rule, a general principle. As we heard last night, when you travel on a plane, the air hostesses normally say you have to put on your mask first before you can help others. It's the same thing across the board. we have to make sure that we ourselves are prepared. It could be at the personal level, that we have our go bags, our go kits, our family plans are well rehearsed. All the family members know of the plans. It's the same thing at the national level. The institutions, you need to ensure that your national systems are prepared. And internally at CDEMA, that we ourselves are prepared. So we continue to encourage everyone to ensure that they, first and foremost, prepare themselves before they go about helping others.
Okay, Ms. Riley.
Sure. So 3 things from me. I would say, 1, the operational environment has changed completely for emergency managers. The hazards are different. Climate change is exacerbating those climate-related hazards, and we're seeing some complex interactions and scenarios that we never even imagined. And on top of that, because of all of the geopolitical uncertainty that's taking place, we are not able to always rely on traditional partners to support in the ways that they may have done in the past. And it means we have to become much more self-reliant. The second point is that preparedness is a responsibility, I would say a partnership. Preparedness is a partnership, and it's a partnership between governments, individuals, private sector, civil society, and we all have to play our part. And I always say to the people of the Caribbean that we have to meet our governments halfway. So the government will play its role in terms of making sure that the big things are ready at the national level. They're going to put all the resources available for people in the population for readiness, etc. But we have to do our part by making sure that we have our homes in order, that we're doing the little things like putting gas in our car, keeping cash, the little things that are necessary to get through these types of events. And then I would say the third point is that we cannot go it alone as a region. We cannot go it alone. The collaboration across the Caribbean space is absolutely important. And it doesn't matter if you're a UK overseas territory, an independent state, whether you're a French or Dutch territory, or whether you're a multi-island state like Cayman, single island, continental, it doesn't matter. The point is that we are all in this together, and we have to work together to navigate it.
It's Danny.
It's always a tough act to follow. And I'm not going to try and add too much more to that, because I do think all 3 speakers have raised some excellent points there. I think AI is a real issue, and I think it's got some really good promise. I mean, we do a lot of work in AI and hazard management. We're doing a lot of mapping, and we do believe that everything now should be based on evidence as opposed to sort of other ideas. It's really important that, evidence-based decision making has a solid ground. So AI can be used to that, but again, there's obviously some concerns about AI in the global landscape. And as Liz mentioned as well, our priorities here between all 3 organisations are about saving lives and protecting infrastructure and, helping communities get involved. But it is a shared responsibility. It's a shared responsibility with international partners like the FCDO in the UK. It's a shared responsibility in the region with all our brothers and sisters in the region, CDEMA. And of course, it's a shared responsibility in the Cayman Islands with both the public sector, the private sector, the community, the residents. We all need to be making sure that we're doing our bit to be ready. I know there's obviously Cayman's landscape has changed dramatically over the last 20, 30 years. And there's some, big changes, and changes that, some for the good, some perhaps others might say not for the good. But with the population increase, that dynamic and that risk, it does change. And the development of buildings, that whole dynamic does change. So whether new people, arriving on the island have never experienced a hurricane before. And so the information for them needs to be different. But they, of course, have to make, a really good be involved in making sure they're empowered, and we can help with that. But again, be it schools, be it that, all the public-private sector need to be ready for any eventuality. We've seen so many things already this year, between avian flu, between dust, between heat, El Nino, all sorts of things going on. Obviously, another thing we're planning for is, potential Ebola issues that's happening around the globe. So we have to be ready for anything and everything. And again, hazard management's very, very happy to help anyone in the Cayman Islands who is concerned about this. And our website is full of information, www.caymanprepared.ky. But again, I just really want to thank our partners here because we do a lot of work throughout. I think Andy and I have been working together for about 15 years now between Red Cross days and before Difford, when Andy was at Difford, and also our CDEMA partners, Liz and Mandela, because again, as we say, this is a united front. We have to work together. We have to make sure we're all ready and that we're all united. And again, these partnerships are so important to make sure any response and any recovery is effective.
Okay, I want to thank you all very much, and thanks for all the work that your respective organizations do to keep us prepared and also to help us recover. Folks, we're going to go to our headline news at 9 o'clock. When we return, we will have the speaker, the Honorable EZZARD Miller, in the studio with us, and he will be talking about the Speakers Conference, which took place from the 26th to the 29th of May of this year. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Since 1976.
Covering Grand Cayman, no Cayman, Cayman right. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
Attention divers, you're being asked to be on the lookout for a sick nurse shark last seen at Ronnie's Nemesis dive site on June 2nd. The shark is estimated to be about 5 feet in length and has noticeable bumps on its head and left side. The Department of Environment is asking you to report any sightings immediately on 949-8469 or email sharkloggers@gmail.com. You can find a photo of the shark on the DOE's socials. In international news, David Hockney has died at the age of 88, just a few days shy of his 89th birthday. The British artist is one of the most influential of the modern era and was one of the leaders of the 1960s pop art movement. In 2018, one of his swimming pool paintings, Portrait of an Artist, sold for nearly £70 million at auction, a record for a living artist. Hockney's depiction of gay domestic life came when homosexual relationships were still criminalized. And Iran has insisted that a final decision on an agreement to end the current conflict with the U.S. has not been reached, despite President Trump again claiming the deal was likely to be signed imminently. Trump had declared the U.S. would strike Iran, quote, very hard again on Thursday, but later said he was canceling the strikes because negotiators had, quote, just made a great settlement with Iran. He told reporters it was, quote, subject to finalization of documents, which should get done over the next few days, and that there would, quote, probably be a signing ceremony in Europe. But Iran's foreign ministry spokesman said reports of an agreement were, quote, speculative, and nothing had been finalized. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Your Cayman Islands Health Services Authority has been the national healthcare provider of the Cayman Islands for many generations. We have elevated our level of care to ensure you, our patients, have the best possible experience. We offer better access to care close to home with the most locations on all 3 islands, delivering a full range of primary, secondary, tertiary, and emergency care. HSA is a JCI accredited organization, and we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have again in the studio with me this morning Honorable EZZARD Miller, Speaker of our Parliament, and he's here to talk about the recent conference that took place here in the Cayman Islands. So without any further ado, Mr. Speaker, good morning, sir. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and thanks for having us. We're here to promote the opening of Parliament next Friday, the 19th. We have the official opening of Parliament. And I want to issue a personal invitation to everybody who wants to come down to Parliament, because I'm really interested in getting people to come back to Parliament and see what's going on. I want to issue, again, a special invitation to the media, because I'm rather disappointed that the media no longer comes to Parliament. They just stay wherever they office or at home and watch the proceedings on TV, and that's already out in the public. You know, before the members of Parliament were offered the opportunity to short interviews, make statements about what's going on in Parliament, I think they miss the dynamics of what's happening on the floor of Parliament, and I think that they're not serving their clients well by just repeating what their clients have already seen on TV. So I want to give a special invitation to the media to please turn up at Parliament and see what's going on and report some of the good that's going on there, not just what you hear bad about it.
And what it's also an opportunity, rather than being in those structured settings where, you know, you're behind a camera and, you know, in a studio talking about things. Here, if you are a good reporter, you go out there, you be on the steps of Parliament or inside, and you know you have your recorder or whatever, and you speak,
and you get
in an impromptu situation,
you get instant reaction from the people, and you know,
yeah.
But the whole dynamic is missing now from the whole media, because nobody comes and does it.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, and we hope that they will take, you know, advantage of that as well. So, Mr. Speaker, you got the mic, sir.
Yeah, well, as you would be aware, we had the privilege and the honor to host the 5th Overseas Speakers Conference. This is something that was started out by the speaker in the UK, and it involves all of the British Overseas Territories. It happens once a year. It's held in London one year, and then one of the overseas territories the following year. So the next conference next year will be back in London. And the Cayman Islands was privileged to host it this year. And I want to once again publicly thank the staff of Parliament, the clerk, and all the members of staff who were involved in putting this conference on. They did a fabulous job. We had representations from Anguilla, Bermuda, British Virgin Islands, Gibraltar, Montserrat, Turks and Caicos, and the United Kingdom. Unfortunately, Sir Hoy couldn't make it.
Lindsay Hoy.
But he was well represented by one of his deputy, Mistress Nusrat Ghani. And we discussed quite a few topics, and it's amazing how much we have in common in terms of issues and problems. But it's also heartwarming and pleasing to note that we are all doing our best to address those concerns and to really promote Parliament in a way that it serves the public and the people they have elected to represent them.
Okay, can we talk about some of the topics that were discussed and go into some of the specifics?
Yes.
For instance, AI and the future of parliaments, what AI will do to Parliament. We know that we have seen some dramatic changes, even as far as our Parliament is concerned. And let's say, for instance, access to the Hansards and, how quickly access can be made to the Hansards once a debate has taken place. Dramatic change in that, for instance.
And what we found about AI in that presentation was actually done by the speaker from Anguilla and the deputy speaker Nusrat Ghani. And I found it very interesting because, we hear so much about AI that it goes back like when you and I first heard about personal computers in the early 70s, and you were very intimidated about it. Mm-hmm. But what I was able to learn is that there are many things, many tools that AI offered us that we can enhance the process of Parliament, the effectiveness, the efficiency of Parliament, but more importantly, as you mentioned, access by the public. So the public can go on and see, you want to look what Izzard Miller said on such and such a meeting, you can put in my name and all of my speeches will come up and you can identify it. It really has a lot of value in terms of being able to improve the whole exercise of delivering democracy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we have seen in many reforms here, as far as our Parliament is concerned, standing orders, for instance, and then we have the new Parliamentary Management Act that has been, put into effect as well. Were those issues also discussed?
Yeah, and most of the overseas territories are all planning to have a Parliament Act. Some of them already have, many of them already have, and again, it was interesting to see how they address the issues, but it's all about improving the function of Parliament, improving the Parliament's service to the public, and also creating, again, efficiency and effectiveness in Parliament by moving us out of centralized government, that we don't have to get involved and compete with the mosquito search unit. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's right. You need to do something about the mosquitoes.
The size of them is unbelievable.
So, again, because it's important that the three arms of government in a democracy is recognized fully. The legislative branch, the judicial branch, and the administrative branch. And therefore, we are now separated. So we're allowed to do a lot of things. And Sir Alden and the Standing Orders Committee, in my view, did a good job in rewriting our standing orders and made many, many improvements to the standing orders. There's a couple little hitches, but I'm hoping to set up a committee at our next meeting to review the few changes that we think need to be changed in order to make it even more effective and more efficient.
And there's this saying, and I hope I get this right, the government must have...
No, the opposition can have its say, but the government must have its way.
Right, yes.
But again, and part of my role is to facilitate that. Mm-hmm. Of course, I've been trying to point out to the politicians that I fully understand their need and their desire to advocate for their individual constituencies. But I'm trying to get us to change the mode, right? And that we can advocate without being adversarial. And I think I must say that I think in the last year, all the members of Parliament have responded favorable to that request of mine. And I think we're now getting a higher level of debate within the Parliament, instead of just throwing insults across the well, as we call it, So again, it leads to working together while you have the opportunity to explain your position if you disagree. But you had as you know, I was one of those opposition bench members that always offered an alternative anytime I offered a criticism. That's where I'm trying to get the whole Parliament to work. And I think in many respects it is happening.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, we have heard the opposition party complain about when they do bring or propose private members' motions, that sometimes that is overtaken by the government, taken action in advance of that sort of then making it unnecessary for that motion because the government has acted upon it. How do we address those concerns? And of course, everyone is looking to get credit for what has been done. Yeah. Whether or not that is important, because everyone is thinking about re-election time, but at the end of the day, the general public out there, what they want to know is that everyone is working for the benefit of the country itself.
But I think there are rules and standing orders that govern all of that. Mm-hmm. and it falls on my desk for me to make the judgment calls. The rules that you can't move a motion against something that's already been decided in Parliament during the past 6 months. It can't have statements in it of stuff that is actually already in the public thing. But there's also a new provision in the standing orders which requires the government of the day to respond at the very next meeting to motions of national importance. Now, that definition of national importance is leading to a little bit of increased expectation, shall I say, because not every motion is of national importance. But I think the only body that is equipped and authorized to make that decision is the cabinet, because they have the facilities before. But you're always going to run into stuff like when the opposition or other members of Parliament hear the government discussing something and decide, well, let's go put in a motion before they bring the bill, But I keep trying to convince them that the object here should be to get it done, right? So let's take the shortest route to get the best possible action for what we want to do.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation with the Honorable D. EZZARD Miller, Speaker of our Parliament, will continue. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Cineco's parametric insurance after hurricanes is now available for motor policies. Fixed automatic payouts cover incidental vehicle expenses like fuel, cleanup, and minor repairs. No claims, no damage required. $200 for comprehensive policies or $100 for third-party policies. Available exclusively through Cineco and included with all new motor insurance policies and upon renewal for current policies. Visit Cineco.ky today. Cineco. Keeping Cayman covered.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
When life feels busy, it's time to slow down and tune in. Breeze 105.3 FM gives you the timeless hits, smooth favorites, and the music that feels like home.
Words cannot express how much you mean to me.
Switch now and ride the breeze.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, we have in the studio, my pleasure to have in the studio this morning, the Speaker of our Parliament, Honorable EZZARD Miller. We're talking about the recent Speakers Conference that was held here in the Cayman Islands with delegates from Anguilla, Bermuda, British Virgin Islands, Gibraltar, Montserrat, Turks and Caicos Islands, as well as the United Kingdom. We are discussing some of the key discussions that took place and as well as the outcomes. One of those mentioned has to do with managing our own house, which speaks to governance reform and the evolving role of parliamentary committees within the overseas territories. Now, Mr. Speaker, as far as parliamentary commissions are concerned, there are people who complain about member of parliament salary, which I believe is well earned, because a lot of people don't appreciate what takes place outside of the halls of parliament, where parliamentarians have to represent their constituencies, and so many things they're called upon to do, including, assisting, with paying bills and things of that nature. But yet some people complain about the salaries. Some people complain about the frequency or infrequency, whichever we may want to refer to it as, in terms of the meetings of our parliament as well. I would like you to speak about the constitutional requirements as far as the parliament meeting is concerned, and talk about the possible use of commissions that will allow the populace to be able to address their parliamentarians about issues, rather than having to either respond to surveys or being asked to provide feedback within 21 days or whatever before a bill is presented into Parliament, sir.
Yeah, well, the constitutional requirement is that we're expected to have a minimum, or have at least, I think that the words that use, 4 meetings every session. And a session is a year.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that I found intriguing was that when we moved the financial year, remember we had moved the financial year because of the election, because of the hurricane, back to the calendar year, January to December. What was happening was that we would have a meeting, we would have 2, sometimes 3 meetings, right, from May to December, and then we would have the official opening in January. So I changed all of that. The session for the current parliament is elections held in May. So the session starts when the people are sworn in. So our session in Cayman is usually the 1st of June till the 31st of May. So we're having the 19th now is our official opening of Parliament, which is the very first meeting for the session. And I've reintroduced the idea of doing the throne speech at that first meeting. Because you will remember, as a civil servant, when we were doing the throne speeches in February, when we was all in the calendar year, you had to write for your department and submit it to your ministry, and it was compiled. And basically the throne speech is supposed to be the plans of the entire government for the ensuing year, in our case, the session. And so we're doing that on the 19th, and then it'll be debated by all members of Parliament the next week. And the idea is that I agree with you that one of the things that is missing from Parliament today, which was quite popular when I was in Parliament in the 80s and 90s, was what we used to call not commissions but select committees.
Yes.
And you're right that in the select committee we did on immigration law. You would have been a big part of that. We had all the members were there. You were allowed to come in and present what you thought was necessary to improve the process in the Cayman Islands. Both the government and the opposition benches were all present. The public were invited to come in and participate, and you could call up the LA office and make an appointment to come in on certain days. And what that afforded members of Parliament like myself was that you got the total picture. We moved away from that, and we got to the place where the government will bring down a 40-clause bill, right? Published it for 28 days, and there's no real public participation because most of the politicians don't have public meetings to discuss these kind of things with their constituencies. So the public was, although it was the idea of the 28 days was to allow that kind of participation, unless you provide that opportunity, it doesn't exist. The only people that you hear from are the people are opposed to what are you trying to do, or the 1 or 2 people who are actually advocating for it because they are going to benefit from it. So I'm trying to get that reintroduced, that some of the bigger bills, for instance, we're talking now about the Minister of Caymanian Employment and Immigration has announced that they're going to be doing the labor law. Now that would be a great bill to have the first reading and then send it to select committee before you do the second reading debate. Because we want the debate to be more constructive and not just about criticism. But if you have an opportunity to sit in a room and hear for all parties concerned what the issues are, what the proposed solutions are, why those solutions are being proposed, what they're going to cost in terms of resources and money for the government, then you're in a better position to debate the bill, right? Or even if we have the second reading debate, We shouldn't have the third reading until there's been a select committee. And you know, everybody, the justification that was always given to me as an ordinary member of parliament on not referring things to select committee was that it takes too long, right? And if you want something to die, you send it to a committee. But that's only possible if you as chairman of the committee allow it to die, right? But if you are genuine about public participation and about a particular public expertise that exists and hearing from them, then you as whoever is the chairman of that select committee should drive that and make sure that it happens, and you schedule the meetings. And we could put a time frame. We could say, well, okay, we expect that this select committee will report on the 2 meetings from now, which would be 4 months or 6 months, you know. But it is still some reluctance to it. But one of the conversations that I had with the Premier and talking about being Speaker was some of these changes that I want to make. We're now basically agreed that we're going to meet bi-monthly. So we hope to publish probably sometime in July what time we're going. We might have the exact date, but we'll probably be meeting in September, November, February, April, etc., etc., so that the public is aware. Because, again, when I was there in the 80s, everybody knew we were meeting February, June, September, and November. And the listening public, the Caymanians, listen to the radio. Now they don't know that Parliament is meeting. So part of me being here is to let them know that we're meeting on Wednesday. And we've hired our own PR person now, Miss Leah Archibald, and she's doing a great job in the social media and all that. I mean, she got my picture all up on it. So, but the idea is that what I'm trying to encourage the government to do is to engender more public participation in the governance of the country. The only place that can happen is in Parliament. Cannot happen in Cabinet, because Cabinet is, as you well know, as a former Cabinet Secretary, everything is bound in secrecy. I still cannot tell you or anybody else my position on certain things were in the 80s while I was there.
Precisely.
But open discussions in Parliament, that is when the public has an opportunity to hear, to make informed choices, and to make informed input into what's going on in Parliament.
Okay, so for instance, your appearance here on For the Record, today and possibly on any other media platform as well. Did you get the sense that more and more speakers are doing that in other jurisdictions to ensure that the population understand what Parliament is all about and what is it doing, so that you no longer make the operations of Parliament something that is secret, that no one knows anything about?
Yeah, I think it was a common understanding and a commitment by all of the overseas territorial speakers that we believe as speakers we need to drive public participation, and that Parliament should not be something that people fear. You know, there's always saying that you as long as Parliament is in session, you're not safe. Some law might change. But we agreed that as speakers we would take the responsibility to drive public participation. As you know, I have introduced a couple of things like just inviting people down, reading their names into the hands, giving them a little certificate. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing how many people will meet me at the supermarket or the hardware store where I go more often than I go to the supermarket. And tell me, Mr. Miller, we really appreciate you inviting my child or my uncle or my person to this or this elderly person, because it tells me that people are paying attention. And part of my responsibility is to do things like this. Come here, engender participation, and encourage the politicians to do the same.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. At Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Join us on Monday, the 15th of June at 8 a.m. for His Majesty King Charles III's birthday parade and presentation of honors ceremony in front of the Government House. Members of the public are asked to be seated by 7:30 a.m. Bring the family and be a part of this national celebration. Can't attend in person? Watch the live broadcast on CIG TV and the Cayman Islands Government YouTube channel. Let us celebrate together.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us in the studio with me this morning, the Honorable D. EZZARD Miller, Speaker of our Parliament. We're talking about the parliamentary conference that just took place. We're talking about some of the discussions that actually ensued and the outcomes of those discussions as well. So we're going to talk about representations to the UK, the role of Parliament and the Speaker in shaping constitutional reform, as well. And you're no stranger to constitutional reform, Mr. Speaker.
But I think we owe a great deal of gratitude to Speaker Hoy, who has set up this Speakers Conference Overseas Territories, and has become a very strong advocate for all of the overseas territories through his role as Speaker in the House of Commons. And I think we have several opportunities to interact with him in terms of talking about changes that need to be made. Of course, you know that any decision with the Constitution is a government issue, right? It's not my role to get involved in that. But I can. In dealing with Speaker Hoyt and the conference, we will learn things that we can use to improve whatever our constitutional status is and stuff. And we can also demonstrate to the government areas that may need to be tweaked or changed. Me, I've always been a big advocate that I think the Constitution of the Cayman Islands is not like the U.S. Constitution, which should never ever be changed, because ours is basically an operational manual given to us by the United Kingdom government. I've always advocated that Constitutional Commission should review the Constitution the first year of every elected government. Because if you go beyond the first year, then it becomes political. Because you're not going to get things done and implemented. If you can't get it all done by the end of year 2, forget about it. Because it just becomes a political football. And that's what has held Cayman back in terms of constitutional advancement without going independent, right? And getting more autonomy in Cayman and being more responsible for our own affairs. So there's some opportunities with Speaker Hoy to do that, and we will certainly explore them.
Now, we touched on this briefly before, but we're going to go into a little bit more detail into the Speaker as a guardian of democracy, strengthening public confidence, and understanding in the legislature. Now, we have come a long way, and it took us a long time, to get there before we actually had a speaker who wasn't also the governor and the head of what was then EXCO, now cabinet as well. So we went beyond that. We then chose our first speaker who was not a sitting parliamentarian, at that point in time, as well. And since then, we have seen the role of the speaker, evolve so much so that here we have the speaker right here on a talk show, talking about Parliament as well. Let's talk about that evolution, and as well as the role of the speaker as the guardian of democracy and strengthening confidence in our Parliament.
Well, I think that the role of speaker starts with the speaker operating at a level of dignity and honour, which garners respect for Parliament. If the speaker does not have that kind of dignity and honour about them, it's hard for Parliament to get it. And I see my role as trying to protect the House of Parliament while maintaining that the House of Parliament is the only body in the Cayman Islands that can rein in a runaway executive cabinet, right? And the people's business should be done in Parliament, not in Cabinet. As you know, some of Cabinet business has to be done in Cabinet because of the urgency and everything else. But, and this is why, you talked about when we had the governor there. And I tell people, when we had a governor coming down there, we were all in our seats 15 minutes before 10 o'clock. When we got local speakers, then we suddenly decided that we could wander around the Parliament or wander anytime we wanted. So one of the key things for me was, and I've always been a stickler for time, and it always bothered me to arrive in Parliament by 9:30 for a 10 o'clock start, and 2:30 we hadn't started, right? So I told the Premier, when he agreed with me, that now we're going to start on time. I told everybody, I made everybody understand that we're starting on time. And that has worked well so far. I don't think we've had more than a 3-minute delay for the whole year, right? It took a little getting used to, but I think that they know we're going to start now, whether they're there or not. And therefore, they're making every effort to get there. But again, it starts with that commitment to, this is an important place. This is a place that I must respect, which goes back to the level of debate that I'm trying to get up at that standard, and try to cut down on the adversariality of what's going on. But, people need to understand, and parliamentarians in particular need to understand that when you get up to speak in Parliament, you're exercising a privilege and an honour that persons have given you to represent them. And you should do it with a certain amount of dignity because it's history recorded. It is recorded. It's not just broadcast and forgotten about. When I was doing the research to recommend Mr. Benson as a national hero, it was interesting for me. And one of the things I've always enjoyed in my spare time down in LA was going back into the Hansards and looking at all the old speeches. And doing the research in the Hansards to prepare that document for the Premier was brought back many good memories and a few bad ones. But it renewed in myself the faith that for the majority of times, Parliament has been a place that people respected. And my greatest concern from my tenure as Speaker is that Parliament loses any of the respect it currently has. So I'm doing my best, and I think we are getting there. We still have a little ways to go in terms of the level of the debate. But I try to use every opportunity that a member of Parliament departs by the standing orders. I'm not quick to drop the hammer on them or put them out, and I'll take an adjournment or a suspension rather, and call them into my office, and then we'll have a conversation about what just happened, and I try to use it as a teaching moment. I learn as well, because it's always interesting to me to hear the difference between the interpretation of a clause that I have and what they have. Of course, I remind them that the only interpretation that really matters down is yours. But we have spent a lot of time at the beginning and during the year offering training for particularly new parliamentarians, because I'm trying to do for them what people like Mr. Benson and Mr. Norman and Captain Charles and Sir Vassal did for me when I was there as a young person, enthusiastic, starting up, wanting to make my mark, wanting to make the people of Northside know that I'm standing up for you, I'm doing your job, right? And it's to recall some of that. And what I'm trying to do for these young people is give them that same opportunity to do it the right way. And it's coming.
And how has the ability to visit other jurisdictions, including the UK Parliament, and I think just recently there was some members of Parliament that attended a conference in Trinidad
this week. There are members of the Public Accounts Committee in Trinidad for a Caribbean-wide conference on the role of public accounts. And I told them when they were going, I said, you can be proud of Cayman because we're ahead of most of them. But again, I try to encourage parliamentarians to take advantage of courses offered through the CPA in the UK, visit the UK, visit the other parliaments. And we had 2 members of parliament who went to Mauritius a couple of weeks earlier. We have the regional CPA conference in Jamaica starting on the 30th of August, and I'm leading a delegation to that.
Okay.
We have the worldwide CPA. I think it is in late September, early October in South Africa, and I'm again leading a delegation to that. And I try I led a delegation to the last regional in the Bahamas, and what I tried to do there was to involve the people in the delegation. Although only the delegates can sit at the table and make a contribution, I encourage the other ones to attend all the sessions, to monitor. If you come up with an idea, bring it to the people who are sitting at the table, because I want them to stay involved in the process and to not only to take the opportunity to make contacts and with people that can help them in the future, but also to participate at a level that they learn and they see some of the issues of other countries. But it's
okay, and we're going to look at how Parliament maintains lawmaking and scrutiny during emergencies. Now, just before we had representatives from some of the emergency management agencies, in particular CDEMA here, and of course from the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, as well as our own hazard management here. And again, lessons learned after Hurricane Ivan as well in relation to that. And again, it was almost sort of like makeshift in terms of interpretation, of our Constitution and everything, to ensure that, Parliament still was effective, because the House had already been prorogued when Hurricane Ivan hit as well. What we'll do is we have 1 minute to go before the commercial break, so we'll take the commercial break, and then when we return, we can talk about that, if you will, Mr. Speaker. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Babe, not tonight. You keep poking me, and I need to be rested for meetings tomorrow.
What? I was almost asleep. That's the mattress spring I keep telling you about, not me. We really need to get a new mattress.
Tossing and turning, back hurting, can't sleep? It might be time to turn in your old mattress and go to bed with a new one. Browse the huge mattress showroom at Brand Source Home Gallery and pick the perfect mattress today. With mattresses to suit every budget, Brand Source Home Gallery stocks a wide selection of sizes and styles like pillow top and gel memory foam. So stop tossing and turning and sleep better tonight with a new mattress from Brand Source Home Gallery, Dawson Drive, Industrial Park.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite band-aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. But don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Are you looking for more weekend getaways with Friday flights? Well, Cayman Airways has added Friday flights to Panama for a limited time this summer. They're perfect for short and long weekend getaways, quick business trips, or easy connections across Latin America. And if Jamaica is on your summer wish list, seasonal summer flights to Montego Bay are also available. Call Cayman Airways on 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com. See you on board our Friday flights to Panama this summer.
Calling Caymanians. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service is hiring local recruits. Are you interested in serving your community on the front line? Apply now to join our ranks in service to the Cayman Islands. As a police officer, you make a difference. Be a part of a team and experience a job where no two shifts are the same. The deadline for applications is Sunday, June 14th at midnight. Visit rcips.ky to apply now and start your journey with the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of this segment of the show with the Honourable D. EZZARD Miller, Speaker of our Parliament. We're talking about a recent conference, Speakers' Conference taking place here in the Cayman Islands. We're talking about key discussions and outcomes. One discussion surrounded the ability of Parliament to maintain its lawmaking and scrutiny during emergencies, and we're going to focus specifically here on the Cayman Islands and what happened after Hurricane Ivan and the changes that have been made since then to address any such occurrence in the future.
Yeah, one of the important changes we made is Parliament is now allowed to meet by electronic means, and it's once it's co-rate by electronic, then it's official, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We have in-house, of course, all of our recovery plans and preparation plans and everything else that we invoke whenever there's a threat, but again, it's important that Parliament has the ability to function and a place to function so the addition that we're hoping to build in a new building behind Parliament will of course be built to all the hurricane standards and everything else and have what we used to call strong rooms in it for preservation. But it's important that Parliament has the facility to meet because there are times when, because of certain disasters, we need to change certain laws, even if they're what is known as sunset laws, even if they're only going to be in place for 6 months. There are things that the government cannot do under existing legislation that needs to be changed in order to facilitate recovery. So that's very, very important.
And when we look at the participants in this particular conference, Anguilla, Bermuda, BVI, even Gibraltar to a certain extent, they're all susceptible, to certain threats, as well. So that was extremely important. Was there any takeaways in terms of other jurisdictions, how they have addressed this concern?
Yes, there were. I don't want to get into real specifics.
Sure,
yes. But and we had our hazard manager was one of our expert witnesses on that particular program.
Oh, great!
Right,
great.
And she made quite a few good interjections and comments. But suffice it to say that all the territories have in place this kind of disaster preparedness and disaster recovery. and how put in place standing orders or legislation that allows it to function in the case of disasters like that.
Okay. Do we have a caller? You want to take a caller? Yeah. We'll put the caller through. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Do you have a question or a point for the Honourable Speaker?
Yeah, sorry, gentlemen, for breaking in.
Oh, that's who it is.
Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Speaker, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, man. You got any mangoes? I can come get some.
Boy, the mangoes up here are a little slow this year, man.
Yeah.
But they're coming.
Yep.
Them Cayman round and long mangoes look like they're coming a little faster. About the usual for them, you know.
Yeah.
The hybrids now that everybody wants.
Not me. I like my Cayman round mango.
Yeah. Make jam. That was
you know what I mean.
Gentlemen, I heard some of your discussion surrounding during emergencies. I didn't hear. I heard OC say something about someone else was there this morning. I didn't hear that discussing those issues surrounding emergencies and how Parliament operates. Let me just say, and the Speaker's right that, you know, there are things that needs to be done, and there were things that we did during, the COVID.
Yeah.
COVID, the pandemic. And that was in direct response to something that Governor at the time, Taylor's name was, no?
Yeah.
Duncan Taylor?
Yep.
Yeah. Another one of them glorified civil servants coming out of England. What he was trying to do, because the only provisions available were the governor could at any time employ a state of emergency, declare a state of emergency. So he was trying to do that to Alden, and Alden was premier, as we remember.
Yeah.
And we know what state of emergency means. The governor then takes over from Parliament.
Everything.
And so I'll never forget, I was in East End in the land, and Alden called me and he said, I need to see you right now. And so I rushed to town, and Alden and I had a closed meeting of Jesse and I.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying things now that, you know, no one else knows about. And the governor had to get the leader of the opposition's approval to go to a state of emergency, as well as the premier. And we collude against him. You hear what I tell you? Because there is no way the two of us were going to allow the governor to take this country over by statute. Thus, the reason we went to Parliament, as you remember, and put in the provision for the electronic means of meeting Parliament to meet.
Yep.
Listen, there are still some provisions there that needs to change, wherein the governor cannot turn us into a state of emergency. And he don't have to consult. He informs the leader of the opposition and the premier that he is going to a state of emergency. That needs to be taken out. And Mr. Speaker, I know you, some other guys, I don't know much about too many of them, but whatever we do, try to make sure them governors can't just employ a state of emergency whenever they want, because they'll do it for anything. If that seaweed come in too strong, they'll likely do a state of emergency, and they're in control. So that, I think, needs to have some consideration, Mr. Speaker, and I would respectfully ask that you bring such, I know you with your research, So you please do that and bring such items to the fore for the current premier and his government.
Consider it done.
Thank you all very much, and have a good weekend.
You too.
Thank you very much. One of our listeners, and I'll give you an opportunity to respond further if you want to Mr. McLean. One of our listeners wanted to know where we're at in terms of expanding the parliament structure, the building itself.
Well, let me deal with. I'll just say about what Mr. Ard called about is a very good suggestion, and I commit to him that I will do whatever I can to make sure such events don't occur, or that we make provisions. In terms of Parliament, we have money in the budget this year to do the design of the new Parliament building, and I'm in the process of cranking up that now, hopefully for July and August and September, so that we can get it done. But again, I want it to be a purpose-built Parliament. So I want the architect that engaged to come down and meet with each department and find out what their needs are, do proper spatial allocations, uptime and motion, because I don't want to build a building and all of a sudden we realize we need one more outlet because we didn't consider this person need a printer. That's what happens.
Yes.
And we have to make some particular. If we're going to get AI, we need to have room for our servers and or data storage and all that. So all those kind of things has to properly be done, and preferably at the second floor level since we're right on the waterfront. So those are the kind of things. So we hopefully this year we'll complete the design process, and then it leans on me then to try and lean on the government to fund the actual building in 2027, 2028 budget.
Okay, we still have about 3 minutes left to go.
Can we talk a little bit about the throne speech?
Yes.
Because again, I am getting representation from people who, because we haven't done one in so long, right? Because for the last several years, decade at least, we've incorporated the throne speech along with the budget and with the SPS, and everybody forgot about the throne speech. I think I was probably the only one that ever debated any part of the throne speech. And so I'm trying to get back to where we were in the 80s and 90s in terms of the importance of a throne speech and the value that a throne speech can put forward in terms of, one, the government committing to its plans, two, the opposition knowing what the government plans are going to be and can therefore hold them accountable for it, and then instead of just having it in a budget document. And so we're having the throne speech on Friday, and then the House will adjourn just after that because we want to give the opposition and other members of Parliament time to study the throne speech so that when they come back, they can make a meaningful contribution and debate to it. So they'll have the weekend, at least, bigger part of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to study it and formulate their positions. And again, it would be nice if the leader of the opposition, the official opposition, who have, I believe, taken the step to assign certain members to shadow certain ministers, that if they would divide up their speeches so that they would speak to the shadow minister representation in the budget speech, so that we don't have all this duplication, which just takes up time. So I think it's very important for the government to put the throne speech in the form, which is the way they do it in the UK, as you know.
And can you remind our listeners, how much time each parliamentarian has to in terms of their debate?
Yeah, well, currently they have 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
Right. But again, what I'm trying to convince the parliamentarians on that, a debate in Parliament should not only be a moment to dramatize or to shout across the building. You should see taking part in the debate as your opportunity to contribute to the constructive solution of what the country is facing, and to record in history your contribution in a constructive way, because I think we've gotten, one of my concerns in my last couple of years in Parliament was that Parliament had become a place to row, right? We have enough of that going on back porches and under the grape trees and everything else. And it was, if you got up to make a meaningful contribution, it was often lost in the rest of the noise, you know, and the shouting from the other side and interruptions. I'm trying to get all of that so that what I want the government to do and the opposition to do is to listen more and talk less. Mm-hmm. Listen to what the government is saying for the rationale for bringing a bill. Debate the bill. Don't debate what you think the bill should be. Mm-hmm. Debate the bill that you have before you and make a meaningful contribution to solving the issues and making sure that we get the best possible legislation that can come out of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Parliament is not a place for entertainment. It's a place for serious
business. Serious
business. Yeah. Yes. Okay, Mr. Speaker, I want to give you an opportunity for some closing comments, and you may possibly want to repeat to people, you know, that you want them to participate in the process, you know, come down to your parliament or, you know, listen in or whatever.
Yeah. No, I want to encourage people to come down to parliament. It is your house. Mm-hmm. It is where your business is being done. And you not only need to hear what people are saying, you need to see what people are saying, right? And to read their faces to see if there's real, true commitment to what they're saying, or like you say, they're just providing entertainment. And also, that puts some pressure on the politicians to behave in a certain way, which I would like to see them behave. But it also gives you an opportunity to participate. Because a member of parliament is going to be hard-pressed if you ask one of the security people, could you go and call the member for wherever? I'm in the waiting area, and I'd like to have a few words to say to him. And you know, one of the things that I found, as you know, I'm always been a proponent of what I call participatory democracy. I had meetings before and after every sitting up there, but oftentimes you get advice from the least expected area, right? That goes right to the heart of the issue, right? And I have always enjoyed participating with people together. So I want to encourage people to come down. I want to encourage the members of government, the ministers, to make a meaningful contribution to the throne speech so that their plans are well documented in the throne speech. Gives them an opportunity to tell the public what they plan and to explain in great details to answer criticism from the opposition or constructive criticism, I hope it will be, and whether they can incorporate some of these things for the betterment of Cayman.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, again, I want to thank you for making yourself, available to the people, of the Cayman Islands, not only, in the Speaker's chair, but in the studio here.
Well, we have some plans, and I told you we have a new PR person, so
yes.
You'll probably get a request from our PR department for other members of Parliament to come here and talk to you about what their role is in Parliament. Because you see, a lot of people down in Parliament don't do nothing. Or if they only knew. It's just like being a politician. Everybody believes that being a politician is a cakewalk. But if you are going to be a meaningful politician and you're going to get up and contribute to the debate, it takes preparation. It takes time, and then you serve on committees. So you're always, it's a very demanding position. Not talking about your constituency level where you get the individual demands, but there's a lot of national demands on you as a politician.
Yep. Okay, folks, this is a long weekend, so please stay safe out there as well. Also, I remind you, request that you join Mr. Charles Glidden Challo at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to continue to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. Kirk Market, experience a world of choice. JN Money, from abroad to Yad. And Cineco, keeping Cayman covered.
This is the People's Radio Station.